Welcome back in, everybody, to GM Territory. Jim, we finally have another trade, and the Angels made the trade. Break this trade down for us.
Yeah, so this is a really good trade for the Texas Rangers. They were looking for a relief pitcher. They weren't sure if they were going to have the payroll flexibility to add one. Well, they made a deal with the Angels, getting Chase Silseth, a 26-year-old right-handed pitcher who had pitched in 47 games this year for the Angels, putting up a 2.72 ERA. 3-2 record, but 48 strikeouts and 39 and 2/3 innings. And the best part about his salary is just $750,000. So Texas will only have to pay him about $300 the rest of the way. Now, in the deal, they did have to take back catcher Logan Hoppe, who has a salary of $2.63 million. So Texas will have to pay him just over $1 million the rest of the way. They didn't acquire him to keep him. They actually optioned him to the minor leagues. He's got a 209 batting average right now with 4 homers and a WAR of 0.6. But the point was getting Silseth, and they were able to do it. And the price that they were able to get him at, Trey, you and I talked about it off air, just incredible. In return, all the Angels get is a 19-year-old fringe prospect named Angel Arredondo. This is a young Mexican third baseman. He's 19 years old. He's a good defender at third base. He's got a good, strong arm. He's got a good approach at the plate, but the bat is very, very fringy. Not because of the approach. He doesn't chase. And he's had a decent year. He's playing at Hickory in the Carolina League. He's having a decent year. He's hitting 247, but has been on base 37% of the time because of the approach. He does have 8 homers and 47 RBIs. What concerns me, though, with the bat is that there's no impact. Very, very little bat speed. Not great exit velocities coming off the bat as well. And that normally doesn't profile to a big leaguer. Now, I'm going to call him a fringe prospect. I will say he's probably now in the Angels' top 30 prospects. Probably makes sense, but not much better than that. So it's fringy at best. So when I look at it, I understand the Texas part of it. I got to have a reliever. They got a good one. I love that part. They had to take on some money with Logan O'Hoppe to get it done, but worth it because Silseth's only making $750,000. But on the other side, I didn't like it for the Angels. I like the fact they did something, but I didn't like the fact they didn't get more. And look, I guess the savings of O'Hoppe's money maybe motivated it. We'll have to see what else they do, but I think it was kind of a disappointing deal. First deal for John Mozeliak running the Angels. Look, bottom line, Trey, is this. I gave Texas a clear B. It's a nice trade. And I gave the Angels a C+ for at least trying to do something.
Yeah, at least they did something, right? The prospect they got in return, as you mentioned, I mean, when he was signed with the Rangers, he was only 16 years old. This is a prospect that as soon as he entered the Arizona Complex League, he only hit 184. But something worth mentioning, he's bounced back. He's seen the ball better. His numbers are a lot better, but that's a really, really young prospect. So, I agree that the Angels at least did something, but the return wasn't where I would like to see. All right, let's go to a hotter name right now. The hottest name in baseball, Tarik Skubal. I'm starting to hear some things that he might be dealt today or tomorrow. Is there any truth to these reports?
Yeah, I don't know. I saw the same reports that you did, Trey. And look, I love Tarik Skubal, and I'm not even 100% sure they're going to trade him, although there have been reports out that they are going to trade him for sure. But to my knowledge, he has not been traded, at least as of right this moment. I saw the report that it may go today or tomorrow. As a former GM, it makes no sense to me on why you would rush the trade unless Detroit is getting absolutely everything they want for Tarik Skubal. Because otherwise, there's a reason why you have a deadline Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific. You want to take advantage of that leverage. When you have the best pitcher on the market to trade, and they have the best too, I'll argue, with Skubal and Mize, why would you do it 3 or 4 days before the deadline unless you're getting everything you want? Otherwise, you're going to wait till Sunday or Monday. Wait till you have the most leverage. Wait to the end. Make all the 5 or 6 teams that are in on Skubal, make them sweat it out. Maybe by Sunday, they give you an extra prospect. Maybe by Monday, they give you the prospect they wouldn't give you Saturday or Sunday. Look, I was a GM for 17 years. When you have all the leverage, you wait to the very end. It's not like teams are going to pivot and trade for another Skubal. There's only one of them, right? So it's going to be surprising to me. And if he is traded today or tomorrow, like the reports are saying, then I have to guess at that point that Detroit's making the call that they're getting absolutely everything they want and more in a Skubal deal. So, personally, I'll be surprised if they do it this early because I don't get it as a former GM. But that being said, let's take a look quickly at the teams that we've identified that are most likely to get them. Dodgers and Brewers are the two favorites. Without a doubt, I think they have the best farm systems to match up with Detroit. That's why they're 1-2. The Braves, Yankees, Rays, and I'm going to throw the Cubs in there as a sixth team. I think all four of them have some kind of shot to do it, but I just don't think they have the same kind of depth and willingness of prospects, top prospects, to deal like the Dodgers and Brewers. And I know everyone's saying, "Oh, he's definitely a Dodger." I would tell you to hold off and wait and see because Milwaukee has enough to offer the same package and even more than the Dodgers if they want to. They really can. And remember in 2008, nobody thought the Brewers were going to be able to trade for CC Sabathia, and they were able to be the team to get him. So I'm not going to sleep on them. I get why everyone thinks it's the Dodgers. Why? Because they have more prospects than everybody else, and they have more depth, and they have ownership that's willing to do it. And Andrew Friedman and the Dodgers always seem to get the big fish at the biggest moment at the biggest times. So I get why they're the favorites. But I'm telling you, don't sleep on the Brewers. They got a shot here too.
All right, we also had some more news out of Detroit this morning. My favorite prospect in Major League Baseball, Max Clark, was called up to the big leagues. Jim, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I love Max Clark. I do. And I think whether the Tigers are selling at the deadline or whether they're going to win, I think this call-up was deserved either way. Look, this is a young player that can be a top of the lineup kind of player that can create traffic. He's got power. He's got speed. He can steal a base. I think he's really improving from the defensive side of things. And the one thing you and I both love about Max Clark, besides the way he plays the game, the style, the swag, it's all there. So, look, I like the promotion. I don't think the promotion means, they're going to rebuild, so they're going to start with Clark and then Skubal and Mize and everyone else is being traded the next 48 hours. Look, maybe that's the case. But even if they're trying to win a wild card, even if they don't trade Skubal, promoting Clark makes them a better team. I love the promotion. I love that they waited this long to give him time to get better, to develop both at the plate and defensively. He's done that, and now he gets rewarded.
Yeah, I mean, Max Clark, he's hitting 276 this year, 11 bombs, 42 RBIs, 21 stolen bags. And look, throughout his minor league career, he's above a 270 hitter. He's shown consistency, and that's something I think a lot of big teams look for in these younger prospects. So I'm very happy for Max Clark. I hope that, if he struggles right out the gate, I hope everyone can just settle their expectations because, look, he's still only 21 years old. He's only 21 years old. It's going to take some time. And a perfect example, Jordan Walker. We're seeing what he's doing this year. Give him some time. That's all I got to say about Max Clark. All right, Jim, we also had Bryce Harper say that we need some help at the trade deadline. Do you agree?
Oh, they definitely need help. And I don't think Bryce Harper was saying anything we don't know, right? I mean, this is a stars and scrubs kind of team. When their big three starters are on the mound, and Zach Wheeler and Jonathan Sanchez and Jesus Luzardo, this team is a playoff team. And when their fourth and fifth starters are on the mound, they're not a playoff team, right? I mean, their fifth starter, when he has started, they're 0-11 in their last 11 starts. The fourth and fifth starter over the last 21 starts, the Phillies are 5-21. So, this is a stars and scrubs team. The offense, look, when the Phillies score runs, most of the time it's coming from Kyle Schwarber, Bryce Harper, Trey Turner, and Brandon Marsh. The rest of the lineup aren't even major league average players. So this team is a bigger threat in October than they are in the regular season. But I think they got to make sure they can get to the postseason. So to do that, I definitely think that the Phillies have to trade for a starting pitcher. I think they really need a reliever too, but I also think they need a right-handed bat. They struggle against left-handed pitching. And in specifics, I think they need either a first baseman or a corner outfielder. That's what they need to be chasing here. And I'm expecting Dave Dombrowski, the president, to do that. Now, I know there were some people that were upset that Harper made the comment and called out the front office. And I know manager Don Mattingly made a comment and said, oh, players all want to be GMs this time of year. And, kind of was taken aback. But understand this, too. Don Mattingly's son is Preston Mattingly, the general manager. And the president, Dave Dombrowski, who he's trying to protect, is going to decide if Don Mattingly manages beyond the season. So I think Don Mattingly stepping up and protecting both his son and the president of the team is something that I think every front office would expect their manager to do. But I also want to turn back the clock to last year and keep in mind when Dave Dombrowski called out Bryce Harper and saying that he was no longer an elite player, publicly criticizing Bryce Harper, that hurt. I wasn't sure that was appropriate either. But if Dave Dombrowski is allowed to do that with Bryce Harper, then I think it's only fair that Bryce Harper can come back and tell the truth about the Phillies team to Dave Dombrowski and the job that he's doing, right? So, look, I don't think there's anything but truth to what Dave Dombrowski said in evaluating Bryce Harper. And I don't think there's anything but truth in what Bryce Harper is evaluating that Dave Dombrowski has done. I think it balances itself out. So let's just move forward. And for the Phillies, just get your team better between now and Monday.
Well, I'm looking forward to some moves that they're going to make. Let's keep moving forward here. Shohei Ohtani, the injury he's dealing with his knee, injury he's dealing with his bicep. Do you think the Dodgers could benefit from putting him on the injured list?
That's a great question, Trey. And I'm glad you brought that up because, one thing that the Dodgers have been doing the last several years is when they get their star players with a nagging injury, they'll put them on the injured list with the idea of we just need to make sure that they're healthy and ready to go for September and October. And I kind of think that would be a smart play right now for the Dodgers. I think the bicep isn't as big a deal as the knee, but the knee obviously is preventing him from pitching. It's the landing knee. It's bothering him. In fact, Shohei Ohtani told some media members that he might have to have something done in the offseason. Andrew Friedman said that was news to him. But my kind of feeling is if you gave him a break right now, put him on the DL for 10 days, let his body rest, I think that would put you in a better position for the end of August, September, and October. But here's the hard part. He's really not hurt enough not to play. And Shohei Ohtani wants to play. He wants to be out there every day. So I think it'll be a hard time for the Dodgers to convince Ohtani to go on the injured list, to be honest. And you can't put a player on the injured list if he's, healthy enough to play and doesn't want to go on the injured list. So I think it's easier said than done. But to answer your question, yeah, I think if I was running the Dodgers, I would bring Shohei Ohtani in and present that as an idea to him because I think everybody with the Dodgers would benefit by giving him a couple of weeks off.
Yeah, the only reason why I kind of disagree with your take there is, if obviously he's healthy enough to play, I think he needs to play. I know he's also looking for another MVP award, and I don't know if that time off could potentially change that course. I get the idea of getting him healthy, but listen, Ohtani, he's still hitting the ball. He's still running. Like everything looks good and what I'm seeing on TV. So anyways,
I'll say this though. Remember what the goal is. The goal is to win a world championship. It's not to win an MVP award. It's to win a world championship. And I want to make sure he is 100% healthy when I get to October so that he can be on that mound and pitch playoff games and World Series games. And I want to make sure that he doesn't get a setback by playing through an injury. So even though you can play hurt, sometimes, and the Dodgers had the history of doing this, sometimes putting you on the IL to make sure you're 100% instead of 95% is the best play to win a world championship in October.
That makes sense. All right, everyone. Well, look, we're going to be back tomorrow. Hopefully we get some more trades between now and then. Ciao and chillax.
We go.